Hi, everyone. This is Ron Guth, and I'd like to welcome you to tonight's live stream. Hopefully, some people will jump on board, and this is your opportunity to pick my brain. In other words, you can ask me any questions you would like about numismatics, about coin collecting in general, about specific coins, anything you want to ask me about. And until I get questions, I'll go ahead and just give you a little bit of information about some of the things that are going on and some of the things that you can look forward to. The In the last week, I've been doing a little bit of research on some U.S. coins, which is what I typically do. And one of the things that I really like to delve into are the pedigrees and the provenances on some of the important coins. In particular, I really like the provenances from the Louis Eliasberg collection. Louis Eliasberg sold his complete collection of U.S. gold coins in 1982, and they have been widely dispersed all around, in America, especially into collectors' collections all over the place. What's neat about Eliasberg is that many of his coins were top notch. They were acquired from the U.S. Mint through the Clapp family collection, John M. and John H., who, for some reason, they just decided to go to the U.S. Mint and say, we would like to buy a proof set of this particular year. And they would do that and they would put it aside. So it's kind of like us today collecting, the modern proof sets. We like to think that they're never going to be worth anything, but 100 years from now, 200 years from now, we have no idea what coin collecting is going to look like. But that was pretty much what the Claps were doing. They were buying modern coins at face value and with a little bit of a premium, and then putting them back. Those coins included complete proof sets of copper nickel, copper, silver, and gold coins. So they were way ahead of their time, or very prescient in terms of putting coins away. So as a result, these are all top-notch coins, and most of the coins in Eliasberg's collection are, among the finest known for the particular variety. Now, for the coins that the Claps didn't collect and that Louis Eliasberg collected on his own, the quality varies quite substantially. So there are a lot of coins that are not the finest known, and therefore, when they were sold in 1982 out into the world, they got kind of lost. I mean, they weren't anything special, and the pedigree was often stripped away, and as a result, we don't know where a lot of those coins are today. One of my goals is to identify as many different Eliasberg coins as possible and try to find out where they are today. What's the modern coin grade? What did PCGS call them? What does NGC call them? What is the modern grade on the Eliasberg coins, which were all sold raw? This was in 1982, before PCGS and the other grading services had ever started. As I go through old auction catalogs and even new ones, I'm always looking for the top-notch coins. I'm building a condition census of all United States coins, and that includes the top 10 finest examples of any given coin. Many of those are Eliasberg coins, as I've already said. As I'm going through this analysis and looking at these auction records and the prior appearances of coins, every once in a while, I'll come across a coin that has no pedigree on it. I mean, that's not unusual. But when I match the plates up or the image up with the database that I already have, the images in there, I suddenly discover that, hey, this is a reappearance of an Eliasberg coin. And to me, that is always an exciting event, because I'm reattaching the Eliasberg pedigree to a coin that has been separated from the pedigree for, it could have been ever since 1982. So pedigrees can be stripped off or pulled apart from the original coin for a number of different reasons. One is that the buyer doesn't want you to know what he paid for it or what the grade of the coin was, because they may try to clean it, improve it, conserve it, grade it higher, price it higher. Obviously the dealers are buying coins out of auctions to try to make money. So that's one reason it might be stripped off. It might be stripped off because a lot of the auction houses, they are production facilities. They are not. I have to word this carefully, but they're not that concerned about pedigrees on common coins. If it's a really big, valuable coin, yes, they want to know the provenances on those. And I actually help the auction houses with some of those write-ups when I reconstruct the pedigrees and make a roster of the top 10 coins. But sometimes the pedigrees just get lost. They might have a coin consigned to an auction house, and with it is the ticket from the original sale, and for some reason that may get lost through no fault of anybody's. It's just an accident, and they just get lost. So that is another reason why pedigrees get stripped off. Anyway, my job is to reconstruct those pedigrees and get people hopefully excited to know that they might have a coin, or they do have a coin that came from the Eliasberg collection. I know that if I had a coin and someone told me your coin, which you never knew about before, came from the Eliasberg collection or the Norweb collection or any other big name collection, I'd be pretty excited, because Eliasberg and in Norweb and Garrett, they all add value to a coin. People pay more for coins that come from big name collections. So that, to me, that's always exciting when I can reconnect a coin to its old pedigree. Another thing that came up in the last week, I started selling coins on Whatnot. It's WHATNOT.com, and I'll put a link in the comments where you can see how to get to my selling venue over there, and what other coins are available. There are a number of different sellers on there. Witter Coin is on there. Some of the names I've never seen before or heard of before, but it's a great venue for selling, I would say, more moderately priced coins. And this means coins in the range of from $1 to $200, but occasionally you'll see coins sell on there for into the four figures. So it's another way to sell coins. It's an auction format. It's very simple to use. You can use it on your phone, the Whatnot app. Now, I met these folks at the Long Beach show where they had a booth and they were presenting exactly how they worked. And I was immediately struck by it, because the problem for me, for instance, like say selling on eBay, I have to, describe the coin, which I would have to do anywhere. But the big issue is like taking a photograph, then manipulating the photograph, editing the photograph, and getting it ready to put on there. With Whatnot, I don't have to do any of that. I can just list the coin, boom, it's in there, and I just have a video going, and I can show the coin underneath the video. So I don't have to do any editing whatsoever. It's really quick and dirty, and I can sell 50 lots in an hour or 50 lots in 2 hours, or I could sell hundreds of lots if I wanted to. So it's a really good venue for selling coins. Now, like I said, I just started, so my auctions that I've had so far have not been barn burners. I mean, I would say I'd be lucky if I broke even on the coins that I've sold there, but I'm getting more followers and developing trust with the buyers. So we'll see. I'll give you reports on a regular basis, and hopefully I'll see you over there bidding on the coins. I hope. So it looks like we've got 2 visitors in here. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop something in the chat box, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. What else is going on in the market? Silver's off a little bit. I think it was $21.75 today at the close. So that's not good news. A lot of people are talking about how the central banks overseas are purchasing large quantities of gold, and we're talking about like China, Russia, and there's some concern about that because there's a push among some of these other nations that are challenging America. There's a push there to replace the US dollar as a reserve currency. We don't want that to happen in America. Obviously, we want the dollar to remain strong. But there is a push, particularly among China and Russia, to who are sort of our, they're not our really pals right now. There's sort of a push to get them for the reserve currency to be something other than the U.S. dollar, and it could be the yuan from China, it could be the Russian ruble, and we're seeing that, like even for instance in Saudi Arabia, they sold some coins, uh, they sold some oil in denominations in like petrodollars, not US dollars. And so anytime we have chipping away at the US dollar as a reserve currency, it's a reason to be concerned. If the dollar was to lose its reserve currency status, that could be bad news for the US economy, because basically it says that people don't have faith in the US dollar and they want to move to something that might be safer, easier to use, whatever. So there is that concern. What that also means is that if the reserve banks overseas are buying gold, that keeps the price up because they're trying to buy. They're not buying, hundreds of ounces. They're buying tons of gold. So when the demand is that large, obviously the price will either be supported or increase. So hopefully we'll see that the demand continues strong for gold because obviously it helps coin dealers. The more activity there is in bullion, the more money you can make in bullion, the better it is for the coin market because coin dealers typically like to churn their profits and put them back into rare coins. I think basically all coin collectors are all dealers are collectors of some sort. They all have a favorite type or favorite series that they collect. Another development in the last week was I was interviewed by Silver Oceans. That's another channel here on YouTube, Silver Oceans, and he is sort of like a silver bug, a silver stacker. He's in that crowd. And he's been doing really well. He's a local guy. He lives here in Southern California, and I've met him a couple times. Really nice guy. And he interviewed me for his show 3 days ago and posted it on a Monday. Well, for some reason, it really took off. It's already gotten about 16,000 views, which for a coin video is pretty good. And for his channel, it's the sixth most viewed podcast that or a video that he's put out so far, and this is only after 2 days. So I'm pretty excited about that. And in turn, his channel has sent subscribers to me, so my subscribership has increased. I'm nowhere near 10,000. I just broke 400. So, but it's nice to see that activity and that momentum. Again, if you have any of you three people that are watching, if you have questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you. Obviously, I'd like to answer questions rather than just sort of make stuff up on the fly. I feel like I'd be more helpful if I was actually answering some of the things that you had on your mind. What do we have coming up? There's a Heritage political auction on the 25th that has some really interesting stuff if you're into collecting Lincoln material or autographed presidential material. There's a lot of interesting things. Okay, so here is from a question from JDW357. Good evening. Can you suggest where I should acquire my junk silver and how to go about analyzing to determine if I receive what I paid for, scale, microscope, et cetera? That's a great question. Um, if you're going to buy silver, you want to, as JDW says, how do I know that it's real? Well, first of all, you need to buy from a reliable dealer. How do you find a reliable dealer? Well, that is often word of mouth. Talk to your local coin dealer who will sell you silver. But what you want to do is you want to go up and find out silver that is number one, authentic. Number two, that it is priced right. There's a buy sell spread for all all silver and gold bullion. And you want to find the spread that is the tightest. In other words, someone will buy at, say, $30 an ounce and sell at 31, as opposed to $25 to buy and sell at $35. That's a huge spread. And what the spread means, excuse me, the spread means that you know what you're paying for it, and you know what you can sell it for at that particular moment in time. The spread changes based on the price of gold, and it also widens and contracts based on economic conditions at the time. It doesn't always stay the same. But you want to get a tight spread so that when you go to sell it, you get close to what you paid for it, if not more. I mean, obviously, you want the price of gold to go up. That's why people stack for two reasons: one, for in case the economy collapses, and two, because they're speculating on the value of silver. So, how do you go about finding out whether the material is real? Well, first of all, if you're buying 90% silver coins, and that would be like silver coins, quarters, dimes, half dollars prior to 1965, there's really not much counterfeiting going on there. I mean, this stuff, there's no advantage to counterfeiting it because it's worth its silver value and that's it. So I would recommend sticking with 90% silver coins. I like 90% silver coins anyway, because if the economy really does collapse and you're stuck with silver and you're trying to conduct business, go out and buy a dozen eggs or whatever you're trying to get, it's a lot easier to do it with 90% silver coins because they are small value, but good purchasing power. And everybody knows what they are, except for probably, the youngest of the recent generation. But everybody knows what they are. Everybody knows what a silver dollar is. They also know what a walking Liberty half dollar. They come across these things in their lifetime, not very frequently, but they understand that 90% silver coins represent real money. So I would recommend sticking with 90% to start out. You don't have to worry about counterfeiting, anything like that. The other thing that I would like to see you buy or recommend buying is American Silver Eagles. Now there's a big premium for them right now, but just remember that the premium, you worry about the spread and the premium. If the premium is high, but you have a high ask as well, if you have a $2 spread on Silver Eagles, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Now that premium may come down in the future, but the spread will follow it. The spread is really the most important thing you should be looking at. Don't worry about paying a premium for high quality silver. American Eagles have been counterfeited or are being counterfeited. There's some not so good counterfeits and some good counterfeits. But again, if you buy from a reputable dealer, you shouldn't have to worry about counterfeiting. You can also stick with slabbed versions, but there you're paying a premium just for the fact that they're graded. But that gives you a little bit of extra protection against counterfeiting. On silver bars, that's a whole different world because there are a number of different manufacturers. There are what we call art bars, which are usually 1 ounce bars. They're struck and they have a beautiful design on them. I would caution against buying those unless you're well versed in it or getting them from a reputable dealer. There's a lot of bars that I see that I wouldn't buy. I wouldn't know myself how to tell the difference. They might weigh right. They might have, I don't know. if I have to go through all that to buy something or to make sure that it's real, I really don't want to buy it. I mean, I want to buy stuff that's clean, no problem, readily accepted by everybody else. So I guess that's why I would stick with and recommend only the silver coins and the silver eagles. If you want to buy gold eagles. There are lots of world coins that you can buy. But again, stick with the coins or bullion that has a tight spread, low premiums, and you're buying from a reputable dealer. So those are the three things that you should be worried about. So that's a really good question, JDW. The Germania bars look pretty official. Do you have any opinion on those? Let me look. I don't even know what a Germania bar is. So I'm going to do a little bit of Googling here and see what I can find out. I'm going to type into my little Google thing here, Germania silver bars. So this is good, JDW, because I'm learning something too here. Germania silver bars, Germania mint. I don't know where they're from. It looks like a cast bar that has been stamped. 0.999 silver bars. This is a 5-ounce bar, and they sell for $123.80. This is from Hero Bullion. I suppose they're legitimate. Let's see if there's anything else here. Silver cast bar Germania. Oh, here's Germania Mint. This is the actual website from Germania Mint. They launched in early 2021. They're Germania Mint's first investment product. They quickly gained popularity not only among investors, but also collectors. They're engraved with individual numbers. That's good. So they have serial numbers, and they're protected with holograms with identification codes, which guarantee their authenticity. Each product is registered in their database, which you allow to verify the authenticity. They're packed in, they're sealed, vacuum sealed, protects them. And let's see, they had 1,000-gram bars. Oh, here's what they have. They have 100-gram bars, 250-gram bars, 500, 1,000, and 1,000. They're all made of 99.99% silver, so that's pretty cool. I've never owned one, never seen one, but it sounds like they're legit. So, hi, Silver Oceans. I gave a shout out to you a little bit earlier today talking about our interview and how it's lit on fire, which is pretty pleasing to both of us, I suppose. So welcome to the podcast tonight. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat line. I'd love to answer your questions. I know that we've got another interview coming up in March. Looking forward to that. But if you have any questions in the meantime, drop it down in the box there and we'll see how it goes. Oceans, I was telling everybody that I started selling on Whatnot. I think you and I have talked about that. I know you're running auctions on your own channel, and I hope that's successful for you. But I've run 2 auctions on Whatnot, and they seem to do okay. I don't think it was a barn burner, but just starting out, I'm pretty pleased with them. Okay, let's see what else is going on in the coin market. Silver Oceans, what kind of silver or gold bullion have you liked for stacking over the past few years? I just sort of answered that question just a little bit earlier, maybe before you came on, Ocean, but I like the 90% silver coins a lot. I really like those. I like the 1-ounce silver eagles and the gold American eagles. Years ago, I used to put away the gold eagle proofs in a self-directed IRA. Well, I got rid of that long ago, but I sure wish I'd had them because the premiums that are being paid for proof gold eagles right now, it's hundreds of dollars. above the bullion value. So that's a pretty good preservation of your capital plus a nice speculative reward. So I kind of like those. I like the U.S. Mint products. Yes, you have to pay a premium for them, but to me, I think you're getting a really high quality product. You don't have to worry about authenticity. You don't have to worry about running a specific gravity test or testing the metal to make sure it's real, because there are fake silver bars out there that people have gotten burned on. So for that reason, I like the 90% coins, and I like the mint products for the silver and gold eagles. I'm going to open up my database here and see what coins I can tell you that are coming up. It'll take a second for it to open up. Oh, here we go. Okay. Ocean, Utah. We also, when you talk about putting 90% coins away, you and I have talked. We both like barber coins. I really like putting together or putting away 90% silver barber coins, because there you're getting not only the bullion value, but you're also getting a really good collectible value. You can generally buy a lot of barber coins and go through them and pick out, very good to find examples, better dates. So to me, that's sort of like the treasure hunt aspect of going through coins in circulation that I enjoyed when I was a kid. The thrill of the hunt, when you finally get something cool, that's really neat. And you can actually do that when you buy barber coins. Now, the barber coins have a premium over regular 90% coins. I think right now it'd probably be around 21 times face for barber coins, when regular coins are about 18 to 19 times face. But to me, that premium is worth it. And barber coins are always easy to sell, whether you're selling them in bulk or individually. So it's sort of like taking the silver stacking aspect of 90% coins and then adding the numismatic aspect, which is the additional collector value that they have. So that's pretty cool. There's a couple auctions coming up here soon. Let's see. I saw that Legend Rare Coin Auctions is having an auction in Vegas. When is it? 2. It's not 2. It must be 3. Let's see. Oh, I got to get my glasses on. No, I guess it's not 3202. Let's see when Religion has. Okay, we'll get this going here. I want to talk a little bit about the auction because they've got some pretty neat coins. Let's go by sale date here. Okay, it's coming up on the 23rd. That's their Regency auction 57, and it's coming up on the 23rd, and it's about 400 lots. Let's see exactly what it is. Yeah, it looks to be 461 lots, and they've got some really nice coins coming up. I can tell you a little bit about some of them. And these are condition census coins. They just put on a really nice. They put a nice group of auctions together, and they've really done well. So I'm happy for them. Silver Oceans, you say, I love barber coinage. It's hard to finish the quarter collection, but I finished the dimes, and I'm only 2 coins away for the halves. Well, good for you. That's great. The The quarter collection is difficult because there's a couple dates in there, the 1896 S, the 1901 S. They're sort of stoppers, but they can be had. Now, the Barber dimes, you did not finish the Barber dimes because you don't have an 1894 S. That's the one coin that's going to cost $1 million or more to finish that set. But if you have everything else, we'll give you credit for it. So we'll say that you were able to finish your dime set. And 2 coins away from the halves. The halves is a really great set because there are no real stoppers in there. And you can put together that set fairly inexpensively. And I would say that you'd probably be able to get most of the dates if you buy bulk lots of Barber coins and go through them. I don't know if that's how you did at Ocean, but it's a very doable set. I really like the half dollars. It's not a very big set, and the coins are great. For some reason, larger coins appeal to collectors and even non-numismatists. So good on you for getting that far. That's a great set the Barber halves. Got a question here from Walker Azul. Welcome back. Appreciate you coming on the live stream tonight. What's up with Charles Barber hating on St. Gaudens, Weinman, and McNeil? Charles Barber was the engraver at the U.S. Mint in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Well, the Barber coins, which he liked so much, I mean, he designed them, ran until 1916. And at that time, there were some other people that President Roosevelt had sort of inspired or encouraged to fix the U.S. coin. Because, I mean, if you think about it, Barber coins are not that pretty. The design is not that inspiring, but if you look at like ancient Greek coins, you know, they got high relief and they're beautiful designs. And what Teddy Roosevelt said was, I want someone to come in here and I want them to make me coins that are just absolutely beautiful and something we can be proud of as Americans. So St. Gaudens was one of them, and he's the one that made the $20 gold piece starting in 1907, the St. Gaudens $20 gold piece with Liberty walking towards the viewer carrying a torch. St. Gaudens also designed the $10 Indian. So if you see the $10 Indian starting in 1907, it's got a figure of Liberty with an Indian headdress on it, which is really unusual because a female Liberty would never wear an Indian chieftain's headdress, at least not back then. So it's sort of like a cultural appropriation there on the $10 gold piece. But he designed those 2 coins. And then Weinman came in, and Weinman did the Mercury head dime starting in 1916. And so, of course, all these things replaced Barber's coins, so he wasn't happy with it. And he sort of fought behind the scenes, you know, saying, hey, you know, these guys aren't that good. I don't like the designs they're doing. It's not going to work technically. They're a bunch of hooey, which was really unfair to these new engravers or new designers because they really came up with some really cool designs. Herman McNeil, he's the one that designed the Standing Liberty Quarter. And of course, in 1916, you'll remember that the first ones had Miss Liberty she was topless pretty much. And so they went from the one extreme of nothing on top to the very extreme position of chain mail. I mean, can you imagine a woman wearing a chain mail covering her chest or her breasts? But that's how they solved that issue. Silver Oceans, no King of Dimes yet. I admit that. Well, I hope, Ocean, that someday you can actually own one. I think it would be really cool if your channel took off, you became an internet sensation, an internet influencer, and made millions of dollars so that you can go out and buy an 1894 S. Silver Oceans, yeah, pretty much for like 90% of them. Oh, so you were able to get most of them from bulk groups of coin. That's wonderful. I mean, that's true. And what that means is that you actually went out and you were aggressively trying to find the coins. You had your want list with you, and you were able to find them, which is great. I mean, it takes work, so I give you a lot of credit for that. Walker Azul, a 1901 S quarter seems like the most underrated 20th century issue. It is a very well-known rarity. I don't know that it's underrated, but because they're not cheap. They're not cheap. Any 1901 S quarter in any grade is going to be a very valuable coin. There are a lot of 20th century coins that they seem like really good values compared to, like, say, stuff from the 1800s. And I like the O1S. I mean, I tell people, if you're putting together a collection of coins, when you start out, the tendency is to buy the cheap coins first and then ignore the expensive ones or the rare ones till later on. I guess it's kind of like thinking, well, I'm not sure if I'm going to dive in yet unless I see that I really like this set and I'm going to continue with it. My advice is always buy the rarity first. Buy the rarity first because they go up in value the fastest. And when you get all the common ones and you go to buy the rare one that you needed, you're probably going to have to pay more money for it than if you'd bought it sooner. So always buy the rarities first and buy the best one that you could possibly find. Silver Ocean. Silver Struck says, Silver Oceans, you're famous to me, my friend. It must be one of his channel subscribers, which is great. Good to see you here, Silver Struck. And yeah, Silver Oceans is becoming more and more famous. He just hit 10,000 subscribers, which is really impressive on YouTube. Congratulations for that. Silver Ocean says, ask Ron some questions in the chat. Yes, please. Silver Struck like number 4. I'm not sure what that means. Silver Struck says, way too intimidating. I'll just listen. Hey, Silver Struck, feel free to ask any questions. I always tell people there is no stupid question. The only stupid question is the one that you don't ask because you're too afraid. So I would say, please ask away. You know, we all started at nothing. I mean, when I was a beginning collector, I knew nothing. Anything that I know today is stuff that I've learned along the way. And all of us are on a spectrum of collecting. We go from inexperienced to experienced and everywhere in between. So don't be afraid to ask any questions because the best way to learn is to ask the question. If you don't ask the question, the answer is always no. So don't be intimidated. We're all friends here, and we'd love to chat with you. Let's see. Any surprising results from the Long Beach auction? Parts of the market that performed stronger or weaker? Well, let me look at some of the results. You've probably heard about the 1855 S3 that sold for over $2 million. That's a coin that has just jumped up in value over the years. And I remember back when I was president of PCGS, the question was, should we grade the 1855S proof? There is no documentation for it. It's obviously a very special coin. It's definitely not a mint state coin. It was never made for circulation. It is a proof. But the PCGS's attitude at that time was if there wasn't documentation for a proof, that they weren't going to put it in a proof holder. And that's true of, let's say, the proof high relief 1907 $20 Saints. There's a buku bunch of them in NGC holders because they're not afraid or that they have no problem calling them proofs. But there are none in PCGS holders except for a specimen high relief that was just graded as part of the Harry Bass collection. So the attitude was, if it doesn't have documentation, well, that attitude changed over the years, and they eventually put it into a PCGS holder. And once that happened, the price of the 1855 S3 just went bonkers. I'll give you for instance here. I'll give you the history on the coin and let you know how it did. Type it into my database here. Yeah. Okay. Here's 55S3. It's in a PCGS Proof 64 Cameo holder with a CAC sticker. This coin came on the market probably in the early 1980s. Sierra Foothills Estate. This is per Walter Breen, and then it went through David Stagg. And then it was a partnership of my friends John Danruther, Jeff Garrett, and Congressman Jimmy Hayes. It went into auction 84. I don't have a price realized there. It went into auction 88. And then I do have a price for auction 90 when it sold for $85,000. Now, $85,000 in 1990 was a pretty big chunk of money. I mean, that was it wasn't the highest price ever paid for a $3 gold piece, but it was second highest. It was a great coin. At that time, it was in an NGC Proof 63 holder. It sold again in a rarity sale in Bowers and Marina had in January of 2000. And then in 2004, it appeared in a stack sale in a PCGS Proof 63 holder. And all of a sudden, the price jumped up to $276,000. So in a matter of 14 years, it more than tripled in price. So that's pretty good, pretty good. And then in 2011, 7 years later, it sold, this time in an NGC Proof 64. Of course, the grade jumped. Proof 64 Cameo CAC holder for $1.3 million. And it went into the Tom Bender family collection, and it just sold recently for $2.16 million in a PCGS Proof 64 Cameo CAC holder. So been a really good run up in price for that. So that was one of the results from the Heritage Long Beach auction that just took place. Let me see if I can find any more here. Some good prices to look up. Heritage. Let's see, update condition census field here. Let's see what we got here. Okay. The next highest price coin that sold at the Long Beach sale was a, what was this? Oh, this was a really rare $10 gold piece, 1798 over 7. It was an overdate, and it sold for $504,000. That was a really big increase in price because the coin last sold in 2015 for $329,000. So it's gone up over $100,000 in 8 years. So that's a pretty good increase. And that's true of a lot of these coins. They're kind of like trophy coins, but they seem to be really going up in price faster than anything else. And that's why I say always buy the rarities first, because you're more likely going to see a price increase with those. The next coin, there was a 488,000. Let's see what that brought. Oh, that was an 1870 CC20, which is the rare date, the key date in the series. And so that brought $480,000. I'll do one more and then answer a couple more questions here. Another $10 gold piece is 1795. That's just a great type coin. First year of issue in MS63 condition in an old generation green label holder. Also a CAC sticker. It sold for $444,000. Now the coin also jumped up in the last few years. It sold in 2015 for $282,000. So that's a nice big increase. Let's see another question here. What parts of the market have performed stronger or weaker? I think of the high end, to answer your question, the high end stuff is doing really well. The lower end stuff is weaker. And by that, I mean, you're talking about generic items like MS64 slab dollars, stuff in the $2,000 to $5,000 price range. But once you get above that, there's a lot of desire, a lot of demand for it. So that seems to be doing well. The show itself was really active, really good. So I've got nothing but positives for that. Silverstruck, thank you for your question. What are your thoughts on the recent Stacks and Bowers auction selling the first and last AGE and ASE type coins, one and two coins? I do not see those coins as important. Um, I'm not familiar with that. But what the first and last is, what that means. Personally, I would not be. I would not be a big buyer of those. I mean, that's not my cup of tea. Similar to like a lot of people like labels, they like signed labels by the engraver, the designer. So, there's a lot of these. I consider them gimmicky, but I don't want to be negative on them because a lot of people like to collect them, and that's what I tell people is collect what you like and don't kowtow to what other people say you should collect or don't listen to anybody else. Collect what you want, and that goes back to the Barber Dime set completion. People say, oh well, it's not done until it's complete, and if you don't have an 1894 dime, it's not complete. Well, that's bogus. It's complete when you say it's complete. When you're done, it's done. And to get all the Barber dimes except for the 1894s, good on you, Silver Ocean, and to anybody else that's trying to do that. Walker Azul says the 1870cc sold for more than it did last year. Let's see if that's true. If it probably is true, I would not be surprised because that is a kind of a trophy coin, one everybody wants, and that was a PCGS XF40. Let's see what Stack or Heritage said about it. Do they have the pedigree in here? I don't see the pedigree on it. Let's see if I have anything in my database. That probably is an increase because XF40s graded by PCGS have sold for, let's see, here's one from 2019 that sold for $240,000. So that is a pretty significant jump in price. Here's one that sold in 2017 for $235,000. So now they're bringing more money. Let's see here. Yeah, almost double the money. Let's see. Oh, okay. Here's the deal. Yes, the 70cc that sold for 480,000 did sell for more than it did last year. Last year it sold in August for $456,000. It's unusual for a coin to be sold and then come back on the market that quickly, but whoever did that made 480 minus 456. That's $24,000 profit minus whatever commissions they might have paid. But that's not a bad return on a investment for only a few months. So that's a pretty interesting result. Silver Oceans, are you going to be buying the 2023 Morgan & Peace dollars from the mint? The answer to that is no. I normally don't buy modern issues, but I do think that they would be a good thing to buy. My impression of these sort of items is that they do very well initially, and unless they're a rare issue, they may not do well in the secondary market. And I've been burned enough times where I buy something directly from the mint, and instead of selling it to the market for a nice profit when I get it immediately, I get greedy and I say, okay, I'm going to hold on to this for a little bit longer. And I always get killed. So my track record overall with buying mint products is not that good, but every once in a while they hit a home run and it's sort of like a must buy kind of thing. So I'm not sure how these are going to do. I might buy one or two just to have them, but I'm not going to be, making a market in them, or I don't expect that I just don't know how well they'll do. Walker Azul asks, how often did you visit the grading room when you were president of PCGS? How about every day? I was always in there talking to the graders, and I was actually grading world coins at the time because I wanted to. One of my initiatives was to get the world coin grading up to a level where it could compete with the U.S. market. I always have believed, and I still believe, that the world coin market is much, much bigger than the US market, and the opportunities to grade coins are just as big in the world coin market as they are in the US market. But what's happened over the years, I should say what's happened over the years is the world coin market has lagged way behind the US market simply because the focus was on US in the very first years of PCGS. That's all they did. They didn't even do world coins. So it wasn't until much later. And even when I came on as PCGS president in 2005, the World Coin department was sort of like a little stepchild, and they were always the last coins to be paid attention to. And I wanted to change that. So I was in the grading room, either grading coins every day or in the bulk department where I talked to them to talk to the graders there and help them out, or I was in the U.S. Grading room, talk to those guys, because I mean, my job was to facilitate what they were doing and facilitate the grading process, make sure it was running smoothly, that the coins were getting out on time, and making sure that there wasn't a big backlog. So, which of course has always been a challenge, but that was my job. So yes, I was in the grading room all the time. Silverstruck says, may I ask what you think of CAC grading coins to compete directly with PCGS and NGC? I know John Albanese really well. I know his partners. And I think if anybody can do it, John and his group can. I think they will be a viable competitor to PCGS and NGC. We have yet to see what their product is going to look like. And when I say product, I don't mean what their holder is going to look like, because we do know what that looks like. But I mean, how is their grading going to be relative to PCGS and NGC? And that is the big issue with any new coin grading service. You have got to have credibility in the market. Otherwise, you're just going to be another grading service. You're going up against the two giants in the industry, PCGS and NGC. You better get it right, and you better have some gimmick or shtick that differentiates you from the other services. NGC took a little bit away from everybody when they came out with their 10-point grading scale for modern coins, which I think is a wonderful idea for modern coins. I don't think it's a great idea for classics, because it's, I mean, we had difficulty with a 70-point grading scale, shoehorning plus grades in there and, that sort of thing. I think it would be just too difficult with a 10-point grading scale. You just don't have enough points in there. You don't have enough decimals that are going to be realistic. Now, in 2018, I proposed a 100-point grading scale that never got off the ground, but it can use both the Sheldon grading scale and additional grades up to 100. It's a lot easier to explain to customers. When people come into the coin market, they go, why are you using a 70-point grading scale? I mean, if my kid came home with a 70 on his report card, he'd be in big trouble. But that's not the case with coins. And we have to explain that over and over and over to customers why it's a 70-point grading scale. And the 70-point grading scale was never meant to be applied to all U.S. coins. It was just for 1794 large cents. Look it up. That's the story. 1794 large cents, because Dr. Sheldon, who came up with a scale, he noted that the worst coin was worth 1/70th the value of the best coin. So he was able to put all the grades on this numerical line from 1 to 70, and it was never meant to be applied to all U.S. coins. And in fact, the system failed just a few years later because the prices went so crazy on the high-end coins that it blew it out. If he'd done the scale a year later, it might have been 100 to 1 or 100-point coin grading scale. If he did it today, it might be a 5,000-point coin grading scale if you're basing it on price. So I like the 10-point grading scale. To get back to your question of what's going to happen with CAC, we'll wait and see. They're talking now about rolling out in April, so we'll wish them the very best of luck, and I hope they're successful. And I can't wait to see how they do. And I'll probably be buying and selling their coins and even submitting to them. Walker Azul, I just subbed a choice. I have to lean over to read this here. UNC 1904S Philippines peso to PCGS of a grade 63. It's an $800 coin of grade 64. It's an $8,000 coin. Any idea why the jump is so high? Well, yeah, it's the rarity in the particular grade. I don't have the population report on a Philippines 1904S peso, but I would assume that the MS64 is extremely rare and the 63 is a little bit more common. And you'll see these sort of jumps all the time with the top end coins. And this has to do with what we call the registry set effect, because people are paying huge premiums so that they can maintain top position in the category that they're in on the PCGS set registry or NGC. So they'll pay crazy prices. So if it's a 64 and that's the highest grade ever assigned to that coin, it's going to bring a huge multiple over the next grade down. One single point in a grade can literally mean thousands and tens of thousands of value depending on which coin it is. Walker Azul says, I love CAC, but still have doubts about whether they can scale. It's one thing to maintain consistent standards with the world-class graders. With 3 world-class graders, doing it with 30 is a whole different ballgame. Yeah, that's the thing. Holding the line is really critical. Again, that has to go with your credibility. If they grade loose, they'll get a lot of submissions. If they grade tight, they may not get so many submissions, and the coins that they do grade will probably be broken out of their holders. So you have to run a fine line. There's got to be some reason for collectors to buy their product, to love their product, and to support their product. And that is going to be the big issue. And again, I wish them all the luck in the world. And if anybody can do it, John Albanese can. He does have some interviews with John Feigenbaum from David Lawrence. And I think Kenny Duncan, great. Did Kenny Duncan also interview him? I know Slab Lab did. So these are all excellent interviews that will give you insight into what John is thinking and how his product may come out. Silverstruck says, excellent response. Thank you, sir. Your knowledge is absolutely amazing. I'm just a regular guy, Silverstruck, who loves coins and has learned a lot about them. So I'm just basically doing a brain dump here. Silverstruck is higher grade, more valuable, or a gold bean? Oh, that's a good question. What he's referring to, CAC has 2 stickers that they put on coins. A green bean, which means it's acceptable for the grade, or maybe even high end for the grade. A gold bean means it's really conservatively graded, that it is more than likely going to grade higher if it goes into a grading service for a resubmission. Now, so let's say you have a coin in a holder that has a gold bean sticker on it. Do you go ahead and resubmit it and try to get that higher grade and hopefully get that higher grade? Or do you leave it in the holder as it is and hope that someone will pay you a big premium for the gold bean? That is the $64,000 question. And you never know the answer. You'll never know the answer until you go one way or the other. But my impression is, my personal preference is, I like the old holders and I like the gold beans. It just screams something special. And to me, that's cool. I love old green holders. I love rattlers. I love anything that is an older holder, because it really is true. If you look at the coins, in my opinion, they are more conservatively graded than they are today. And that's just my personal opinion. and I love the coins. I love the probably the, like reminiscing maybe, I go back to when PCGS first started, and I was there in the market when the first Morgan dollars came out, and they were like $800 for MS-65s, and of course they have never gotten back there, but um, you know, thinking back to those days is good for me. I enjoy it. So yeah, I prefer the gold bean on an old style holder. Brian S says great chat. Ron, thank you very much, Brian. It's been an hour. It seems like it's gone by in 10 minutes. Thank you all for viewing. Really appreciate the questions, really good questions. And thank you, Silverstruck, for getting over your intimidation and realizing that you do have some great questions. And I hope the answers that I gave you tonight helped. So I'll be back again next week, God willing, and hope to see you again then. Take care. Bye-bye.